Hello, welcome to Orphan Espresso. I'm Doug.
I'm Barb.
I'm Joanne. Hi, Amber.
Hello, Amber. Welcome. Amber is our lead production person on our projects, and glad to have her here. This video is going to be about deep cleaning of the apex. We're going to have to disassemble it and clean the grind chamber. That's what we're going to show you. Now, before I get started, I'd like to talk a little about the tools that we use to do this job. These three tools, these are the ones that we include. Okay, these are standard hex keys, L hex keys. They are metric. One thing I want to stress, don't use anything but a metric tool on this grinder. They are all metric. Don't use inch tools, don't use imperial tools. Even if they seem like they're right, they're not. You have to use a metric. We have a 4 with a ball. This is a straight hex and a ball. A 3 straight hex. This is a 2.5 straight hex and ball. Now, these are the tools that we actually use to build the grinder with. They're much more convenient. We build a lot of grinders. You get more power out of these tools. The bits fit a little better. These hexes fit nicely when they're new, but they can wear and cause you problems. On the Apex grinder and everything else, we've gone through a lot of destruction testing. And from what we can tell, the only destruction, or the main destruction that can happen on this, is caused by improper tool use or use of a bad tool or the wrong tool on the fasteners. Now I'll just show you. This is my 4mm. This is a ball driver. It has a ball. A ball driver is used when you need to put the tip at an angle into the fastener. Okay, this is a hex cap screw. A ball driver is used when you need an angle. It will also work when it's straight. A straight hex is used only when you have a straight in application. It won't work on an angle. If you try to use it on an angle, you'll strip the hex. This is our 3. Once again, it's a straight hex. This is a 2.5 straight. Okay? Those are our tools that I can't stress enough. Take your time, use the tools properly, and from what we can tell, you won't have any problems down the line. Okay? So having said that, I'm just going to proceed. I'll show you both the standard hex keys and our production tools to do this. Now, the first thing we're going to do, if you look through your manual, we have described how to do this process, okay? And we have said the first thing that when you take it apart, leave the handle on the planetary gear. The handle acts as a sort of a tool that enables you to remove and install the planetary more smoothly. So the first thing I'll do, if you're using your hex key, this is your 3mm. I need my glasses. So your 3mm, you remove this, okay? If you need more torque, this is a standard, like a socket, 6-way, 4-way screwdriver. You can use this. This gives you more power. Make sure you're in your hex and you break it free, okay? You can come in and use the other end of this as well. I'll use my handier tool. Out comes this one. Okay, this locks the planetary in place. Now, I simply lift straight up. Out comes the planetary. Okay? Set that aside. Now in here, once again, these are 3mm. Okay? Now I'm going to have to reach in the long way, make sure it's in there, and use my cheater bar. Okay? This is how this is done. Keep it straight, stabilize it, break it free. Now you spin it out. If you invest in some more professional level tools, you're going to have an easier time with this job. And I'll demonstrate that. This is my 3. I simply put this in here. Much easier to use, especially if you're going to repeat this over and over and over again.
And
Now,
the tools are not expensive.
One thing you'll note is that the screw I took out of the collar is shorter than these 3 screws here. These are longer, that one is shorter. You hear that click? We tighten these down nice and tight. So you have to break it free. Now I lift this off. Okay, this is the housing for the planetary gear. 3 long screws go in the inside, the short screw goes on the outside. Set that aside. I remove the adjustment lever pin, take this off, and this is my 2.5. Okay, so I come in here with my 2.5, or I can use my 2.5 here. We say do not over tighten. The reason we say do not over tighten is because this screw has been over tightened and it's been stripped. This is our original production prototype. This won't happen on your grinder as long as you're careful, but somebody wasn't careful along the line, and it was probably me. Okay, now that I've taken out that screw, there's my cover. Cover comes off just like that. Set it aside. So now we're making progress into the grinder. You can see this piece here. Okay, this is where we're going, inside here. Okay, what we do now is I'll show you how to use the key. Okay, I can once again, I have to break this free. If this is the only tool you have, well, you go with it. Okay, we put these in here pretty well. Let me put it on that side. Bang. Okay, you need some power to get that off, but you have to be careful. I'm going to go to back to my standard tool. Okay, there's 2 screws down in the bottom. There's 1 screw here. You have to use a ball driver on this screw. Okay, that has to be a ball driver. Bang, bang, bang. Out they come. But that snapping sound that you hear is the fact that we have tightened these down so we have a nice, solid assembly. Now you note that I've got this in at an angle. Okay, it's at a double angle. It's in that angle and slightly off in this direction. But once again, if you use your ball driver, it can be done with this tool, but you can see it's a little clumsy. I'll go ahead and take this off here. If you're careful not to scratch your grinder. Okay, now, before I go any farther, I'm going to give a little lecture that I've been talking to Barb about for weeks, is that the disassembly for deep cleaning, the main challenge is psychological, because I have blown this grinder out with compressed air, I have vacuumed it out, I have brushed it out, and I know there's no coffee in there. I know that there's really nothing, there's no reason for me to do this. As I've told Barb, it's complete recreation. You're doing this because it's fun, because it's an optional activity that you do for fun. That's recreation, okay? There's not really any reason to do this, but we're into it. Now I've removed this screw. There's my grinder, okay? That's what we're getting at. It's as far as we need to go. Here's the grind chamber, okay? Compressed air, brushing, vacuuming, that's it. I've done all this work for this. It wasn't that much work, but what I have done is I've kind of put my machine at risk. Tool use, scratches, be careful. Now, and see in here, similar. I can take a brush and brush down the sides if I choose, but this is an optional activity at this point. There's nothing in there, okay? How many minutes do we have on this video, Joanne?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Okay. I think, let me talk about, in just a couple of minutes, any other maintenance inside of here besides cleaning. As you can see, cleaning is kind of a no-brainer. It's very minimal. It doesn't really retain a lot. I just did this to show you. Now, if you should here we have a thrust washer. These are needle bearings, okay? And the bearing here and the bearing here, these are sealed bearings and require no maintenance. If you should hear a little squeak or anything unusual in the heel of the grinder, you can put a tiny drop of oil on this bearing as far as a maintenance issue. Just the tiniest drop of oil on the bearing. That's about it. Okay? Another issue, when we assemble it, we'll talk about that one, Barb. We can grease the gear then. But other than that, there's really no maintenance to do in here. I just did my massive cleaning with my finger. You saw that. So I think we can stop here.
And we don't recommend going any further. Don't pull the axle. Don't take it apart any further than this. It's not necessary.
Right.
And putting it back together can be somewhat difficult.
Right. It's a bit more
not hard to
complicated,
do,
but
but
as
you
Amber
have to
can say, it's really not that difficult, you know. I mean, it's just...
But you do have to pay attention to some things.
Right.
And since it's not necessary, we don't recommend it.
Okay, so, you know, once again, compressed air, et cetera, is your friend. You can blow air along here, whatever you would choose to do. But that is as far as we need to take it down to clean it. So we're just going to stop right there and come back right away with another video showing you how to put it together. Thank you.